This happens to be the most hickory dickory bullshit I've ever realized in my life. Yeah. And what I mean that I found out the most hickory dickory bullshit of my life is that anytime anyone heals from a toxic relationship, they make these three main mistakes. Now, you might be saying, well, if I just got out of a toxic relationship, I should be ready for a healthy one. That's usually not the case. But on today's episode, we're going to be diving into understanding what are the potentialities and the personalities people attain and embody after they get out of a toxic relationship, and how they make these three main mistakes when it comes to approaching a new relationship. And the crazy thing is, I guarantee you, after you watch this video, boo-boo, you're really going to question yourself and you're going to ask, am I really ready for a healthy relationship? Scooch, you beautiful beings. Welcome back, Awaken Ones, on another episode on Embracing Ascension Series with your homegirl, Brittany Fontanez. If you're new to this channel, welcome. On this channel, I am just an energetic activator here to awaken you to things you have yet to see. Now, the funny thing is, I started this video out with some tea. No, it was not coffee. It was chai tea. And it's funny because, you know, when you sip in tea, you about to spill some tea. So I drank it all because we're about to spill a lot of motherfucking tea today in this video. And beautiful beings, if you are new to this channel, if you want to know any more about me, all my information is down in the description box below, as well as my merch, my healing course, and all that jitty jazz good shit, cheesy shit, because I'm cheesy as fuck. But other than that, you beautiful beings, so glad to have you here and hoping you're having a blissful day. But like I said, we got to spill some motherfucking tea because we got to make ourselves accountable for our own bullshit. And the bullshit is that three main mistakes that people have a tendency to make after getting out a toxic relationship. Now, I have to share something with you guys as we're going throughout this video, is that, you know, we have to understand most people are aware of toxicity, but don't take accountability. I'm going to say that again. A lot of people are aware of toxicity, but lack taking accountability. Now, you might be saying, how do I need to take accountability for a toxic relationship that person treated towards me when my intentions were pure? Listen, accountability doesn't mean you're taking on that person's actions of what they've done to you. Accountability is you taking accountability for how you react and how you perceive that very experience. And that's the thing, you guys. Healing is not linear. Most people think they gotta experience the thing, feel it, and then forget about it. But that's not what healing is really all about. Healing is about acknowledging what has happened to you, and taking accountability for your perspective you have of it, and allowing it to teach you rather than traumatize you. That's what healing is all about, you guys. And that's the thing. You know, when we get into these toxic relationships, you know, we're going in with our trauma wounds. We're going in creating trauma bonds, meaning that if we go into a relationship and neither of you guys are willing to see the unhealthy parts of the relationship, but the unhealthy parts are what keeping you together, that's your inner child only reenacting trauma within that dynamic. Because most of our relationship dynamics are really the relationships and the perspective we have of our parents. Weird and odd and crazy shit to say, but it is. It is because it's meant to teach us. And if you haven't watched my previous videos, you guys, I highly suggest go watch this video, because in this video, I really talk about the purpose of what a relationship is really meant to teach you. And that's the thing. A relationship is meant to teach you to grow, not here to help you be happy. That's the thing a lot of people forget. But that's what a lot of toxic relationships could come to, is you guys relying on each other and creating trauma bonds and creating a soul tie that's keeping you in that unhealthy dynamic because you refuse to learn the lesson in order to move beyond it. So, you know, let's get a little further into this, you guys. So the reason why I want to bring this to our awareness is because, you know, the more this world is exposing itself, the more love is trying to take place within those things that are exposing itself. So, and a lot of people are relying love within another person. And this is how the codependency could come about, the soul ties, the trauma bonds, the reliance, the neediness, the desperation. This is how all this can come about. But in order to get that relationship and see relationships in a new way, in a healthy format, we have to take acknowledgement of what we're refusing to see. And here's the thing. We live in a society where a lot of people in relationships are worshiping toxicity and thinking that's relationship goals. Like for celebrities, a lot of people want to say relationship goals for most of these celebrities, but most of these celebrity relationships are so fake and are so unhealthy and so toxic that we're idolizing it. And this is why we're always in a state of traumatizing one another, is because we're refusing to see and acknowledge what it is we're refusing to take into accountability. So this is why I feel like it's very important to share this video, because when you get out of a toxic relationship, we make these mistakes when it comes to allowing ourselves to get into a new relationship. And the thing is, you guys, a lot of people don't understand when you're getting out of a toxic relationship and you're doing your healing, and you may have been single for a year or 2 or 3. I've been single for 3 years already. I actually quite enjoy it. But that's the thing I want to share with you guys, the right way to be ready for a healthy relationship, and understanding, have you really healed from that experience of that trauma, of that toxic relationship? Because a lot of us, when we get out into that toxic relationship, majority of us make these mistakes because we're still in that perspective of blaming that other person, or having an ego boost, meaning that, oh, they treated me wrong, so they missed out, so therefore I gotta look good, I gotta dress good, I gotta go all out and all that shit to make myself feel better. But that is just you instantly gratifying your ego, but not really healing the heart and understanding what it needs. So let's get into what are the 3 main mistakes that a lot of people in today's world make after getting out of a toxic relationship. And the reason why I could share this with you guys, because like I share everything on my channel, everything I share with you is the things I have experienced. You guys, I've been the cheater and I've been cheated on. This is how I can understand what a toxic relationships and what a healthy relationship is. Even though I'm not in a relationship currently, it's because it's optional for me. And you want to get yourself to a place where a relationship is optional. It's not what you need. And that's where the healthy perspective of self-love comes in, which majority of people think they have when they get out of a toxic relationship, but it's really just them hiding how they truly feel and not willing to face that. So let's get into the 3 main mistakes people make when they get out of a toxic relationship. And it's not what you think, boo-boo. But the first one is, where you at? This has blew my mind. When I recognized it with myself, and then when I go out into the world, getting to know people, I started to recognize it within other people. That's crazy. And here's the thing, you guys, we're vibrational. So what we vibrate at, we attract that. So please understand, if you're still hurt, you're going to attract that. If you're semi-healed, you're going to attract that. If you're in your ego, you're going to attract that. If you're in your heart, you're going to attract that. This is why it's very important to take accountability for everything that happens in your life, because you hold a certain frequency that is bringing to you the very experiences you do want or you don't want, because you are the creator of your reality. Your personal energy is your personal reality. And your personal energy, your personality creates your personal reality on the outside world. So when we can take accountability for our part in the experience of those past or those toxic relationships, then we could recognize how am I showing up in the relationship, not just how that person's showing up in a relationship. It's 2 and 2, guys. It's not just 1 versus 1, or just, you know what I mean? So this is one thing I've recognized within myself after healing from a toxic relationship, and what I've seen in other people as well. And that is knowing your worth into not worthy enough. This is what I mean. When we get out of a toxic relationship and when we're finally in a place of wanting to allow ourselves to get into a relationship or see what we're open to, Here's the crazy thing. A lot of people know their worth. Like for me, for instance, for example, when I finally got myself to a place where I'm like, you know what, I'm ready to date again. I'm ready to go out into the world. I'm ready to express myself. You know, when I got to that place, I knew my worth and I felt so good about myself and I loved myself so much. I was aware of my flaws, my insecurities. I was aware of the best parts about myself. I was aware of what I bring to the table. I was aware of the imperfect parts of myself and the best parts of myself. But the thing is, when I did that work and I started to go out and I started to go on dates and I started to give people chances, I started nitpicking at every motherfucker I would come across of. Now, I'm not saying when I used to be a cheater and got cheated on, I wasn't a nitpicker. I was always judging and all that stuff, you know, because I was in a broken, unhealed place. But now I'm recognizing like, whoa, I'm nitpicking this person. And when you are judging and nitpicking a person because you know your worth, it's like you're not allowing them to be them. You're not accepting that person. So it's a contradictory, you guys. A lot of people, like I said, when you get out of a toxic relationship, a lot of people think they have really healed themselves in certain aspects. But the thing is, they haven't really acknowledged that it hurt them. So what I mean by this is that you can know your worth, but you can go out and nitpick another person and thinking they're not worthy enough for you. But the thing is, do you feel fully accepting of yourself? Because if you're nitpicking at another person, what you're saying is, I'm good enough, but you're not. So therefore, that's really coming from an ego place. That's not really coming from a healed heart place. You get what I'm saying, you guys? And like I said, healing is not linear. You know, we may think we've healed something, but years down the road, that same predicament comes up, but in a deeper aspect for you to understand a deeper perspective. You know what I mean, you guys? So that's one mistake a lot of people make when getting out of a toxic relationship and maneuvering to a healthy one, is that we know our worth, but we're not allowing our healed parts of ourselves to accept and acknowledge another person. Please understand, you guys, the way to stop doing this is by acknowledging where that person is. Have you been there? What you're judging within them. Do they feel as if they probably don't even like that about themselves too? You guys, like I said, when you get into a relationship, it's not about what you want, what you need. It's about what you both want and what you both need, and how can you make a world out of that to create harmony instead of a battlefield. You know what I mean, you guys? So that's one mistake a lot of people make, is that they know their worth, but they make other people feel like they're not good enough for them. So enough with the judgment and the nitpicking, you guys. In order for you to really see that you learned your lessons, how accepting can you be of another person? How accepting can you be? And then question, when you are judging that person, what is it about them that you do not like? Is it because of them or is it because of you? All right. Now, second mistake that people make when getting out of a toxic relationship, and that is this is a huge one. And that is from toxic excitement to healthy boredom. That's far from the truth. I'm going to say that again. The second mistake a lot of people make is the perspective that they have that, when I was in a toxic relationship, it was so much fun. It was a chase. It was a burn. It was a fire. But when I get into a healthy relationship, I'm bored. Oh my God. God, I'm bored. I'm not excited. I'm not lustful and all that shit. You know what I mean? You ever get that way? I have. And that's far from true, you guys. You know, that's how you know. Not only that is a mistake people make after getting out of a toxic relationship, that's how you know there's still some level of deeper healing that needs to take place. Because the thing is, you guys, it's true. Here's the crazy thing. I'm gonna share an analogy with you guys. Hell is chaotic, but it's exciting. It's like going to a circus. Heaven is more calm. It's chill. You have to understand, hell is of heat because there needs to be chaos in order to create heat. Heaven is stillness. It's cool. It's calm. Therefore, not a lot of people are there. So the reason why I share that analogy is because we have to understand that toxicity needs chaos. Healthy needs ease. You have to understand, you guys, a toxic relationship is only exposing the parts of yourself that you're refusing to love. So when you go into a healthy relationship, it's actually showing you how can you bring about new ways of being and doing and expressing yourself in such a healthy manner where it's fun, where you don't need all those things that put you in a state of ease, but you find the ease within yourself and with the other person with you through your healthy establishments and understandings and new perspective. Because when I realized this within myself, I'm like, wow. There's still parts of me that are still toxic. And the thing, you guys, this is what I mean. A lot of people are not willing to take accountability. Is because they always want to blame and they always think there's something wrong with that person when I get into a relationship, or they're not worthy of me, or this person's toxic and they're a walking red flag. Have you ever thought about and questioned maybe there's some parts of you that are toxic, hence why you're attracted to the toxicity? Get what I'm saying? So that's the second mistake a lot of people make, is that they think when they get out of a toxic relationship, there's no more excitement, there's no more fun, there's no more of the things I like to do. That is far from true, you guys. When you get into a healthy relationship and you're bored of it, that says a lot about you. That says nothing about the other person. Because what I mean by that says a lot about you, that means that there are parts of you that you still need to recognize, but there are parts of you that don't even recognize what a healthy relationship is and how to merge yourself into that. Because if you say you want a new relationship, but yet you haven't figured out what a real good relationship is for your heart, for your mind, for your soul, for your being, for your existence, then you're not really ready for one. That's why I said in the beginning of this video, are you really ready for a healthy relationship? Because most people want these relationships, and all of a sudden when they get out of a toxic one, they think, oh, I'm good, I'm healthy. And then they get into a new relationship. It's great for the first 3 months. And then after 3 months, it gets chaotic the same way like the last one, but probably even worse. And it's because you haven't really sat down and questioned, what is a healthy relationship to you from what you have experienced? Because most people don't know what a healthy relationship is, especially when they get out of a toxic one, because they think that was so normal that healthy is bored and not normal. It's about getting out of the familiar and getting into the unfamiliar, getting out the territory of what the ego needs and getting into the territory of what the heart needs. You get what I'm saying, you guys? So that's the second mistake most people make, is that they think a toxic relationship is where the fun is at and a healthy relationship is bored, but that's not true, you guys. It's far from true. A healthy relationship could be so much fucking fun. Like for me, I know when my next relationship comes in, we're going to be like kids. We're going to be like kids. I already sense it. I already feel it, because when you can allow yourself to be fully vulnerable, fully open to the point where you feel good on your own, and you take that into a relationship, it's only going to make it better, because you already know how to make yourself happy. That person already knows how to make themselves happy. So bringing that together is going to be so much fun, because you're like, I've healed. I know what I like. I know my hobbies. I know my activities. I know who I am. I like this shit. I want to share it with someone. And all of a sudden, you guys just create such healthy bonds where you're generating off of each other, not using each other to siphon each other's energy, because you are lacking doing that on your own. Why do you think most people are so drained when it comes to relationships? Because they're not doing what's healthy for each other. They're just taking from each other. But in a healthy relationship, they're giving to each other, because they're refusing to allow their old self or their old ways to get in the way. And this is how a lot of marriages and relationships do tend to end, because one person is like, oh, I still want to be a child, I still haven't had one night stands, my whole phase and all that. Not just on women and guys as well. Or some guys be like, oh, this is tying me up, this is suffocating me. No, it's not, boo-boo. You are just not ready for a healthy relationship. So go about your day, do your thing, and stop breaking the person's heart. Just do you, boo-boo. That's all I'm saying. But if you are ready for a healthy relationship, you got to be ready to see the parts of yourself that you refuse to see. Here's the thing, you guys. Here's one thing I want to share with you before I get to the last mistake people make. And that is, do not use your trauma as an excuse to tell people to tolerate your behavior. I'm going to say that a better way. Do not use your trauma as an excuse to think that people need to tolerate your bad behavior. Just had to say that. All right, now let's get into the last mistake that most people make when it comes to getting out of a toxic relationship. And that is, oh my God. This shit annoys me. And since I've done my healing, I could clearly see it. This is why it annoys me. And I used to do it myself. And that is the last and final mistake that people make when it comes to getting out of a toxic relationship and wanting to get into a new relationship. And that is not being curious enough to the point you love, but you neglect people and project onto them. So here's the thing. When you do get out of a toxic relationship and you do end up finding yourself and you do end up finding out what you like and you do end up finding out, this is what I desire, this is what I want. Here's a mistake that a lot of people make, that I even made myself, and I realize a lot of people do as well. Oh my God. You're not curious enough about the other person. I've recognized this. A big red flag to me is when someone doesn't ask you enough fucking questions. They say, oh, I'm ready for a real relationship. I've been through the worst. I've been through it all. I don't need no trickery shit. I don't need nothing that's going to be fake and all of a sudden. But when that person says that and they said they want something real and they want to get to know someone, all they ever do is talk about themselves. And it's like, how are you going to want a new healthy relationship if you're not willing to be curious enough about the other person? This is where emotional unavailability comes in and the lack of presence comes in for men and for women. Because a lot of us, when they say, oh, I currently was talking to this chick, right? And, we were talking. She didn't even ask me how my day was. She just kept talking about herself. I stopped texting her. I was like, bro, you're sending me essays, which I love a conversation. I love communication. So if you send me an essay, yes, boo-boo, I'm going to read that. I really am. But if you are just insinuating, talking about you, you're not going to ask me, how am I doing? How's your day? What you're into, what you like. If you're not going to do any of that, you're not ready for a relationship, plain and simple. I'm just going to say it that way. And I even have people come back to me, be like, oh, am I boring? Oh, did I lose you already? I was like, yeah, you did. Because you were just so self-absorbent. You say you're ready for a relationship. You say you know your worth, but you're not willing to be curious enough about this part, about me. And all of a sudden you thinking that you only talking about you and thinking that I don't care if people reject me. I don't care if people leave me. But you saying that is you still projecting your past bullshit onto me or onto that person. So the thing is, you guys, the mistake most people make when getting out of a toxic relationship is that they're not curious enough about other people. But when they're trying to create a relationship, they're wondering why people are not curious about them anymore, is because you haven't made them feel important enough. All you're doing is projecting onto, oh, that person's just like everyone else, so therefore I have to close off my heart, but I got to make sure that they know who I am and that I'm good enough, maybe better than them. And to the point that, people don't even feel accepted. They don't even feel like they're wanted. So of course they're going to walk away because they don't feel like I'm not being seen. They just want to be seen. So, there is a double-edged sword when it comes to knowing your worth, you guys. You can know your worth and neglect other people, but you can know your worth and be curious about other people to the point you make new connections that are bringing you a new sense of experience rather than thinking, oh, I know it all. I know how you're like. So therefore, I'm just going to run away or I'm just going to avoid you or I'm just going to be like, oh, I already know what's going to happen. But you're missing out on opportunities and people. And I've had someone say that once. I messaged them and then they were like, oh, I only fuck with real ones. I was like, dope, bro, we haven't even had a conversation yet. I just sent you an emoji. And all of a sudden I was like, okay, well, I'm guessing, lose out on probably good people you could have known. And the person was like, lost, what's that? And I never even opened the message. I was like, that was a clear indication that you say you're interested in someone, but you're not ready for them. So you guys, everything I share with you today is just a simple fucking guideline to help you understand when you get out of a toxic relationship. And if you say you're ready for a new relationship, stop only thinking about yourself. I know a lot of you are going to come at me and be like, Britt, you don't know what I've been through, so I had to learn my worth and I have to have my standards high. Yes. Boo. Have your motherfucking standards high. Have your boundaries ready. Let people know who you are. But sweetie, a relationship takes two is not just about you. Did y'all just hear that? A relationship takes two is not just about you. You want someone to make you feel good? That love that you want, that's so bountiful, you got to make sure you got to be willing to give that back, yo. You guys, I'm that type of person. Even, I'm going to be real with y'all. Even when I do one night stands, bro, or like hookups, I don't play no games. I don't play no games because I know I want the best experience when I go into that predicament. So I'm going to give my best. Because I know when I give my best, I get the best back. And not just in relationship, not just in, hookups or in relationships, but in friendships and in life and in everything that I do, you guys. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So make sure you don't half-ass shit. Don't only think about you, because the world doesn't revolve around you. You do create your own inner world, but there is an outer world that your inner world has to merge with. So you guys, everything I shared with you is a simple guideline for you to stop ignoring your bullshit about how you see relationships, but be able to approach a new relationship in a more vulnerable way, to the point, your past experiences doesn't traumatize you to the point you're projecting and neglecting. But you've learned from your past experiences to the point you could go into a new relationship and be the most authentic you have ever been. To the point you're not fearful of speaking your truth. You're not fearful of expressing yourself, but you're not fearful of allowing your heart to be seen, regardless of what the person thinks of it. Because here's the thing, you guys. If you're able to be authentic and really express your true self within any dynamic and anywhere you go in life, nothing can hurt you, manipulate you, or use you, because you know who the fuck you are. And that's the thing, you guys. A lot of people think they know their worth when they're getting into a new relationship, but a lot of people only know their ego. They don't know their heart. So it's very important, you guys, that when you get into a new relationship, after experiencing such a toxic relationship, is your heart in it. Because if it's just your mind visualizing this type of relationship I want, this type of person I want, and all of a sudden, but your heart's not in it, to the point you're not able to be vulnerable, you're not able to feel safe, you're not able to allow yourself to be seen by another person, then you're not ready. And I just want to be honest with you, boo, and that's okay. Give yourself more time to really digress. What does Brittany want? What do I need? What do I really want? I thought I wanted that in that last relationship, but now I don't think I want that anymore. Because I'm just gonna chill. I'm just gonna get to know me, And that's the thing. If you're not willing to do that, then being alone will be your best option. And I'm just gonna be real. Because if you're not willing to be alone and you need a relationship, then not only you don't know how to find happiness within yourself, but you're going to bring all your traumas into the next relationship and blame that other person for things that they did not do. And that's not fair to the other person. And that's not fair to you. So, make sure that you're able to understand what vulnerability is. And vulnerability is not about being weak, you guys. Vulnerability is about saying, you know what? I don't care if my heart's exposed and no one understands, as long as I made myself feel heard and feel seen and put myself a priority to make myself feel like I matter, what I have to say matters, or what I feel matters, then I'm good enough. I'm good as I am. And that's just that person's perspective, not my own. You get what I'm saying, you guys? So I hope that everything I share with you is going to be very beneficial. Yeah, I felt like Bruce Almighty for a second. But God, I really did not want this video to go long, but Spirit wants me to discuss shit that most people need. So other than that, you guys, if you found this video informative and helpful, and if you feel like it was helpful for you, it might be helpful for another person that you think might be going through this type of thing, then please send them this video. And if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that like button, and don't forget that the subscribe button wants to be caressed too. So make sure you hit that as well, and hit that notification button so you be notified of any video I make moving forward. Other than that, you guys, I love you so much. All my services is in the link in the description below. But until then, you guys, I'll see you in the next one.